Anna Marie Shreves doesn't live near the ocean, but she's found a way to be a great friend to it.
Part of my life, we lived right in front of a creek. I just remember like being there and it being like one of my favorite spaces to be in. Feeling like the sun up against my skin and like watching the tadpoles go in and out of the water. I started my zero waste life based on my love for nature. When I see trash in the ocean, when I'm out at the beach, I'm thinking like how far the journey has been for this piece of trash and how someone might have thought of it as just, oh, it's just a chip bag, you know, but now it's become beach waste. So the average American disposes of 4 pounds of trash a day, and that's a ton per person a year. Yeah, it's a lot of trash. I think the hardest part of the lifestyle is the getting started part. I would say most of what you find is wasteful is in the kitchen. It's food items. So your packaging. I said, how do I zero waste my kitchen? If I can do this, then I can do anything else. I made sure that everything I bought for my kitchen was made out of natural material. So wood, bamboo, glass, aluminum, stainless steel. That way I wouldn't have to buy anything that was made out of plastic because it is doomed for the landfill, and it also releases different types of synthetic materials like phthalates into your food. There's 3 things you always want to leave out of the house with. That's a reusable cup. That way you can get anything from coffee to a smoothie to water in here without any trash. You want to bring something to eat with. I have a Sport, which is very friendly for on the go. And then you always want to have a cloth napkin. That way you don't have to use any paper towels or any paper napkins. I learned that you can shop in 2 sections of the grocery store. That's bulk and it's the produce section. In bulk, you bring your own containers to the grocery store. So I bring mason jars and I bring canvas bags. And then I'm able to go to the produce section and then buy anything that is not in plastic packaging. So I would never buy like a bag of apples when I can just grab some apples and put them inside of my basket. When you go to the grocery store, you want to go and ask for your tear weight at the front. That's the weight of your container before you put food inside of it. That way you're not charged for the weight of the container when it's time to check out. Each one of the containers has a PLU number on it, and so you want to make sure you grab your PLU number. If I were just to shop normally, I could write it on one of the paper bags, but because I don't want to use the bags, I bring my own and then write the numbers down in my phone. That way it's digital and trash-free. I'm a vegan, and so I don't eat meat, but there's still opportunity for people that do eat meat to be zero waste. You want to shop at the meat or the seafood counter, and then that way you don't get anything that's already prepackaged. And what you can do is you can bring a food container to the grocery store, get your tear weight at the customer service section of the grocery store, and then head over to the meat section and tell them what you want, and just let them know that you have your own container. Takeout. What I do when it's time for me to go get something to eat, I usually have my food containers, and what I do is I'll go to the bar of a restaurant and sit down and just order my food as if I'm sitting for here, and then they'll bring it to me and I pack it up on my own. There's also some restaurants that will pack it up for you, or if you call ahead and say I have a to-go order, but I want to pack it up myself in my own containers, they'll gladly do it, and if you're really lucky, you'll get a discount. So it pays off to be a zero waster. So I recycle a very small amount of items. I do buy vinegar that comes in the big plastic bottles, and I also buy baking soda, which comes in those paper boxes and cardboard boxes, and I'm able to recycle those 2 items. But that's typically what you find in my recycling bin. Most of my waste is kitchen scraps. So that's your banana peels and the butt of your carrots and that kind of thing, and I compost that, and that makes up 35% of my trash. And instead, my food scraps turn into compost, which are nutrient-dense materials for growing and farming. So then I'm able to put it into my garden, or I can take it down the street to the community garden. Compost is more than just kitchen scraps. You can compost your dryer lint because they're such tiny fibers. Once they go into the compost, they easily break down. You can compost paper, you can compost cardboard, hair. Yeah, you can compost all of those things. the paper helps to break down the food scraps, which could potentially become smelly. This is 7 months of trash. It is my pride and joy because it reminds me of the amount of commitment that I have taken to the zero waste lifestyle. Typically, what you find inside of my jar is the produce stickers. I brought a couple of shirts from the Goodwill, so I have some tags from there. These are twist ties from a head of lettuce or romaine, so you usually find those inside of here as well. I think that one person can definitely make a difference. If I go get a smoothie and the person behind me is like, hey, you brought your own container or your own jar? And I'm like, yeah. And they didn't know that they could do that, but now they know and they'll go and grab their own. Or if I'm at the grocery store and I'm like, oh, I don't need a bag, and I rush out with a handful of produce, and the next person is just like, oh, I don't need a bag either. And so I'm creating habits, and I'm getting more people on board with the lifestyle just by being myself and letting people see me. So I definitely think I'm making an impact, and it's small, but it's mighty.